The Crypts of Winterfell. Fans love them. There are a bunch of theories, but they're all bogus. There's one very obvious purpose of the crypts and a second ironic secret to the Crypts of Winterfell. Real quick, thank you to Keith Allen and my lady Olenna Tyrell for common channel members, and Christina Darling and my buddy Ben Hogan for helping in the campaign to save a child's life. Links to all Ben's channels are on my main page on the right side. Alright, let's do this. The first time we see the crypts is when Ned and Robert go down there, so that Robert can pay respect to his late betrothed, Lyanna Stark. We get confirmation that Lyanna's buried down there, unlike Ned, whose bones never made it back to Winterfell, at least in the books. So Ned's bones are not in the crypts yet. Yet, Bran and Rickon both have visions of Ned in the crypts.
We went down into the crypts. My father was there. He was down here. I saw him. Saw him when? Last night. When I was sleeping.
Melisandre says that bones remember, meaning bones hang on to one's residual soul, a concept that Qyburn tells Jaime he's aware of. So the fact that Bran and Rickon have dreams of Ned down in the crypt before his bones get there may be a sign that Ned's bones will eventually make it back to Winterfell. And spirits of the dead sort of transcend the space-time continuum, meaning the spirits of the dead Starks. As long as they get back there, then they're always there. That's home. In this very first scene of the crypts, we get 4 references to the dead watching, at times, with cold, disapproving eyes.
Let's speak somewhere the dead can't hear us.
But the focus of this scene is on Lyanna. King Robert had asked Lord Eddard to bring him down there so that he could pay respects to his late betrothed. He mourns her, and so does Ned. While they're in front of her tomb, Ned reflects back on the promise that he had made to her, presumably to keep her child's identity a secret, a promise to his sister to keep her child safe, ironically, from Robert, the very man who's down there with Ned mourning her. It's noted that Lyanna was fond of flowers, so much that she even died with rose petals in her hand.
He rode past his wife, and he lay a crown of winter roses in Lyanna's lap, blue as frost.
Then King Robert and Lord Eddard discussed the late Jon Arryn and his family, Jon Arryn's wife Lysa, and King Robert's namesake, Robin Arryn.
Tell me about Jon Arryn.
King Robert says that he's sworn to protect Robin, and he then says that he's going to need to find a replacement as Warden of the East because Robin Arryn's weak, unlike his father, Jon Arryn. The son is not the father. This may be a clue that Robin Arryn is actually Littlefinger's child, but that's a topic for another time. What we do know is that this line is definitely an Easter egg, a nod to the fact that Jon Snow is not Ned's son. The son is not the father. And it gets better. Ned offered to take in both Robin Arryn and Lysa, because Lysa's Lady Cat's little sister, but King Robert says that they can't do that, because it would be a grievous affront to Lord Tywin since King Robert had already offered Robin to Tywin to serve as Tywin's ward. Check out Ned's response, quote, "I have more concern for my nephew's welfare than for Lannister pride." So this conversation started out with Robert saying that he's sworn to protect Robin, and it ends with Ned saying that he has more concern for his nephew Robin's welfare. But George R.R. Martin is clearly playing with words here. Robin is King Robert's namesake, and Jon was renamed as Jon Arryn's namesake. It's another Easter egg to the Jon Snow reveal. They are discussing this in front of Lyanna's tomb, and Ned just so happens to have sworn to protect her child as well, Jon Snow. At face value, Ned's referring to Robin Arryn, but the hidden meaning is that Ned has always been looking out for the welfare of his other nephew, Jon Snow, by keeping Jon's true identity a secret.
You never told me what she looked like.
Nor will I.
So in a single chapter, Lord Eddard's very first chapter in Book 1, we've already got enough evidence, at least in hindsight, to say that the first secret to the Winterfell crypts is to give readers Easter eggs into the eventual reveal. Lyanna Stark is Jon Snow's mother, and we get more evidence to support this. Bloodraven keeps sending Bran and Rickon dreams, leading them down into the crypts where they see Ned's ghost. And when they're down there, they check out Lyanna's tomb and they discuss her.
Yes, he chose her.
That's Lyanna, my father's sister. King Robert was supposed to marry her, but Rhaegar Targaryen kidnapped her.
And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
Right. For an instant, it looked as if the dead were rising, including Lyanna. So, Ned keeps having these dreams where Lyanna says, "Promise me, Ned." And at one point, Bran wakes from a dream where he recalls that Ned was sad. Bran can't remember why, but Bran does remember that it had something to do with Jon. Obviously, this refers to Ned's sadness regarding Lyanna, the Blue Winter Rose, the she-wolf, his sister, Jon's mom, Lyanna Stark. And of course, we have Jon Snow's experiences with the Crypts. Jon dreams of the Crypts 3 times. The first time, he tells Sam that he's looking for someone, but he doesn't know who. Later in the same chapter, Jon thinks that it's past time that Ned told Jon about his mother. So that answers the question of who. It's his mother, Lyanna. Jon's looking for his mother down in the crypts. The second time that Jon dreamt of the crypt, he goes down further than before and the vaults were opening. The dead kings of winter came stumbling from their coal-black graves, which is why some fans think that the kings of winter are going to rise like Lord of the Rings style. Not gonna happen. We'll address this in tomorrow's video. And in the third dream, the Stone Kings tell Jon that he is no Stark, that there is no place for him there to go away, at which point he hears a feast above in the Great Hall, but he knows that he is not welcome there. He hears Robb's voice and Lord Eddard's voice, as if they were at this feast, but there was a wall between them, and no place had been set for Jon. To put that into context, this occurs in a Samuel chapter where Sam asks Jon about lies. Quote, "Jon, could there be honor in a lie if it were told for a good purpose?" The lie that Sam is thinking about is sending Gilly's baby to Horn Hill and saying that her baby was his own, pretending that Gilly's child is his own bastard. So this clearly parallels what Ned did with Jon, to pretend that he's his own, to give the child a chance at life. And on top of that, when Jon mentioned the feast, Sam immediately thinks that the living have no place at the feast of the dead, which reminds Sam of another lie, Bran. Sam was hiding the fact that he had seen Bran because Bran had told him to keep it a secret. Quote, "The world believes the boy is dead." So remember, Sam's reflecting on this as he speaks to Jon about Jon's crypt dream. So it's all connected. Sam's holding on to the secret about Bran, a boy whom the world believes is dead. Very similar to the lie that Ned held on to about another boy whom the world believed was dead, or rather, a boy whom the world never knew to have lived, Rhaegar and Lyanna's child. So that's the first of the 2 secrets of the Crypts of Winterfell. Jon Snow's secret identity is pretty obvious. If Sam or Bran tell Jon, expect him to visit her tomb in Season 8. He's been pretty close. You can see her right here in the background. But the second secret to the Winterfell Crypts, that's the big one. It's complex, so we've split that one out for you, and we'll go over it tomorrow. Hit subscribe, and have a great new year.
Bastard by some tavern slut.
Perhaps, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way.